All right, guys, let's kick this off today. We're going to jump right into it. We only got a few people here in the office, a few people online, but it's all good. This will be recorded for people who miss it. Those of you guys at home, since we only got a small group, let's get your cameras on, guys. I want to see you guys. We're all going to participate today. Today is going to be, we're going to be doing some role playing. That's mainly what I want to focus on today. And then the title of today's training is basically knowing your numbers and follow-up role playing strategy. So if you are here for training, please unmute yourself. Please show your face.
Thank you, Zyla.
Thank you, Zyla. Okay, first thing I want to kick off with, guys, is knowing our numbers. I think this is extremely important, right? It's extremely important that we know what we are chasing, right? We know what we are trying to hit. We know what our targets are. And so I want to make sure, first of all, that everybody understands what is a good week, right? Like, how are we measuring our progress throughout the week? How are we measuring our success? How do we know if we are on track with our goals? What's up, Andrea? Welcome back. How do we know if we are on track with our goals? And I want to keep it really, really simple for you, right? So first of all, we need to know what our goal is, right? And we need to know how to keep track and how to know if we were on track with our goals. Does that make sense? Right. So when I talk about goals, guys, I mean, we all have a lot of personal goals, financial goals, this and that, right? But I want to get clear for everybody that in business, the number one goal is what? Contracts, making money. Let me see. Well, I want to know what comes to your mind. What's number one goal in business?
Productivity.
Productivity, consistency.
Number one. Say it again, Keith.
Okay, if you operate a business,
Yeah, let's do a little deeper, man.
what's the number one goal we should have in business? Profit.
There you go.
Profit, right?
Communication.
Profit, communication, all that stuff helps you, right? But what it boils down to at the end of the day, if we had to pinpoint our finger on one thing, one measurement of are we succeeding in business or not, it's going to be
Consistency.
profit. Profit is the term. Profit, right? We're all here to make money, right? We're not here. It's not a charity, right? Otherwise, you could go volunteer. Yeah.
Make a profit.
You guys got in real estate for profit, right? Not to just be nice guys. Yeah, some of you are nice. You want to help people out. All that stuff is part of it. But at the end of the day, you guys aren't showing homes and saying, it's okay, don't pay me. This one's on me. No one's doing that, right? Oh, I sold your house. Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it. You're welcome, right? We're not doing that, right? We're not in this business for charity, right? We are in this business at the end of the day to walk away with money, because money allows you to do all the things that you want to do, right? Money gives you options. Money allows you to take care of your family, to, accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, right? And so I want to make that clear, because at the end of the day, right, some of us have all the reasons we want to make money, but at the end of the day, we're in a real estate business because we want to earn commission and we want to use that to do the things that we want to do in life, right? Okay, so if you know that, now I want to make sure you guys know, number one, how much money do you want to make, right? And number two, how do I reverse engineer that so that I can know what do I have to do every single day or every single week to hit that number, right? So step one is, what is the financial goal, right? Not what's the dream goal. And this is where I think sometimes people get off a little bit. Sometimes they just throw an arbitrary number, right? Like 100,000 sounds good, right? Because if you hit six figures, that says you did something, right? But why not 126,000, right? Or why not 199,000 or 224,000, right? So I think it's important that you guys understand why you're coming up with this number. What does that mean for you? The other thing to keep in mind is, depending on where you're at in your business, there will be some sort of ramp up phase, right? Or maybe that first year, you might not hit your peak income, right? You might hit a stepping stone, and then the second year you scale and stuff like that. So in business, when you're newer, your first year, you don't always come out and like hit this crazy old number, right? Some people do, right? But for the most part, it's usually a building process, right? Or okay, I hit this, and now that gets me a certain amount of consistency, a certain amount of income, a certain amount of clients, and then from there I scale and I build on top of that, right? So sometimes we got to look at it like that as well. So what I want everyone to figure out today is what's the number for you, right? What is that number? And if you, let's say you gave me a number of 150,000, I want to make 150,000 in the next 12 months, which is great. I would ask you to question, why do you want to make that 150,000, right? What does that mean to you? Maybe it might be like, okay, well, my bills are X. And then if I make this, it'll allow me to pay my bills. It'll allow me to save. It'll allow me to do this. It'll allow me to accomplish the things I want to accomplish. To me, that's a lot better than just throwing a number out of thin air, right? Like Adrian said before, I think the other day you said 250,000 or something like that, all right? Why did you say that number?
Well, that's gonna build my savings and that'll be enough money to pay for all the things I need and more.
Okay. But was that an arbitrary number? Why not 275? Why not 225?
250 is pretty round.
Okay, so see, that's the thing right there that I want to get you out of, is just throwing numbers that sound round or sound okay, right? I want you to figure out what number actually is going to allow me to do the things that I want to do. And sometimes it takes a little bit of thinking, right? A little bit of calculating, a little bit of looking at your bills and stuff like that. Is the air on, by the way? Yeah, this chair is going crazy, right? But I would encourage you guys to figure out what that number is and why you chose that number, right? Not just because it sounded good, but because it meant something, right? Because that's when it means something, it's a lot easier to stick to a number if it means something versus just a number that sounded good, right? You guys follow me? Okay. So once you have that number, now the question is, do you know what it takes to hit that number, right? What does that mean in terms of transactions? What does that mean in terms of deals? What does that mean in terms of customers that I got to meet with, right? Stuff like that. That's really what I want you guys to get at, right? Okay. So what I want you guys to do right now is I want to see what you guys know first, right? I want everyone to spend some time right now, grab a piece of paper, write down what's your income goal, right? And then I want you to now do the math and say, okay, if I want to hit this income goal, how many deals must I close to hit that income goal, right? And if I want to close that many deals, how many appointments do I need to set on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, right? So it's going to be a little bit of workshop style, right? So take some time right now and let's start writing some stuff, right? And then we'll check back in a minute or two. So those of you guys at home, right? Take a piece of paper, take your notes. If you have your phone or whatever you want to do, what's the income goal? And then how many deals must you close, right? I think that's the first step there.
What's your income goal? And then how many deals it's gonna take to hit that goal?
Yep. So we're going to start there, right? I want to get everyone just to write these numbers down. I want to see your math and how you came up with it. And then I'm going to show you an easy way to come up with it, right? And we can see if those two are coinciding, right? Because the key thing is once you learn this, guys, then you can start mapping out your goals every single year, every single quarter. You can start systematically creating your own business plan, right? what I want you to be able to do at the end of the day is I want you to be able to sit down with me and say, hey, Enrique, like I really thought it through. This is my number that I want to hit. Based off that number, this is how many deals I got to close. And based off how many deals I got to close, this is what I got to do each week to ensure that I'm on track. Right? Because when you have that, what does that give you guys? Clarity, right? A plan, confidence, right? And it gives you the power to be able to decide, do I want to do this or do I not want to do that, right? And then it's up to you. But what I don't want is I don't want people to come into this blindly like, well, I don't really know how much I want to make. Or I have an idea, but I don't even know what I got to do to make that. Like, to me, that's the worst spot to be in, right? Where you'd have no clarity. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Right? Because then it's like, okay, well, then what am I doing every day? Am I just working? I'm just hustling? Okay, those of you guys that are at home, if you can, throw it in the chat. Patrick wrote 13
homes for $1.2 million each to reach 300K a year.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, I want you guys to write it down the way Patrick wrote it, right? Income goal, number of deals that you must close, average price point per deal. I mean, you can go that far as well, but definitely your income goal and the number of deals you want to close to hit that. So Antonio said 12 sales at $1 million each, assuming 2.5% on each to make 300K. Zyla said 12 homes, 150K. Nisha said 15, 150K, 4 to 6 appointments every single month.
Yeah, run the math, and then he's gonna do the math for you guys. So
Yeah, I'm gonna do the math for you. I want to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah, and that's why it's good. And this is what I like about this, guys. It's like you're not copying your neighbor. You're thinking, hey, this is my goal.
Yeah.
And this is the way I see I'm gonna accomplish it. And then Enrique is gonna run the numbers and show you guys how you can accomplish those goals and whatever adjustments you need to make.
Yeah.
Right, Keith?
All right, what do we got? Dev, what's your number?
My number is 150,000 gross for an average price point of 1.125, at an average commission of 2.65%, leading to a pre-splits of approximately 300,000 and post-splits of approximately 150.
Okay, I like that. All right, boy, it's detailed over here. John, what'd you come up with?
I don't know, 161,000.
Okay,
With team leads, that's 10 deals at 1.6.
okay,
Sphere deals at 7.
okay,
And that's post split.
okay. Excellent. What do you got, Chris? 11 deals? What's the income goal?
That number is 44,300
Okay, and that's 11 deals. Okay,
after splits.
after splits. Okay. Adrian, what do you got?
Mine's around 20.
20 deals
Yeah.
equals how much income?
Around 2.
Around 250. 20 deals equals 250. Okay. What do you got, Blanca?
I did 500K, 13 deals, 1.5 average price point.
Okay. It's cool. The whole point wasn't right or wrong, right? The whole point is I want to see what you guys are coming up with, right? Because I want to see how your math is working, right? And then I'm going to let you in on kind of how I would do it, right? To ensure that I for sure hit these numbers. And I'm not just kind of guessing, right? Because everyone's numbers were a little bit, right? A little bit different, right? Okay, so let's look at our number, the sheet right here. Let me share my screen for those of you guys at home. This is at the very, very basic level, right? So you can see how we came up with the numbers. If you want to make 150,000 in income, the math, average price point, I put 1 million, right? Some of you guys have sold some more expensive homes. Some of you guys have sold some less expensive homes. Your particular average price point might vary or fluctuate a little bit, right? But on a team level, because we're doing deals all over the place, it's about $1 million to 1.1 million or so is the average, right? I know Adrian closed a $6 million deal, but he also did a Los Baños deal, right? So when you,
Just really quick.
Yeah.
Our system will tell us what our team's average number. Right?
Yeah.
That's what Enrique's coming up with.
exactly. So that's what I'm looking at, right? It's a little bit higher than $1 million, about 1.1. I'd rather just keep it easy because $1 million's an easy number to look at. 2.5% is the commission on average, right? For deals, about 25,000. And then on average, what I put is the agent keeps about 50% of that. Now, for some of us, it might be a little bit higher, right? If we look at it this way, like on our tier system, our first tier is 70, 50, right? 70 on your own deals, 50 on team deals. So if you're doing half and half, your average is probably about 60% that you retain, right? Now, once some of you guys move to the higher tiers, then that number is going to shift up a little bit. But if we want to just keep it super simple for starters, 50% is a good number. If you're a more seasoned agent or a producer, I would probably go 60%, right? And do your numbers. So if 25,000 is a gross commission, 50% I take home, 60% if you're maybe producing more, about 12,500, right? And so if I want to make 150 grand divided by 12,500, I got to do 12 deals a year, right? Some of you guys might say, well, if I only do SOI or if I only do this, right? Like, yeah, those are all, that can happen. But for the majority of our team, we're doing both, right? We're taking team leads, you know, we're taking some Zillow stuff, we're getting our SOI, we're doing open houses. So it's kind of a blended, where it's kind of a 50-50. And if you look at our numbers for our team, about half of our business comes from SOI, half of our business comes from some of these marketing sources, right? So now I want you to redo your numbers based off of this, right? If you want to close 150, 200, 250, divide it by 12,500, right? If you're a newer agent, if you're more seasoned and you're producing and your bits have gone up, divide it by,
Why don't you put that in there?
I'll put that in there
Yeah.
for closing,
If you're gonna put
50
60%.
to 60. I'm going to put here. Let me make this easier for you guys. 50 to 60, 12,500 to 15%. Yeah.
50%.
If you're, yeah, I would say for you, Chris, I would do 50%. I would use the lower number, right? For Blanca, I would be using the higher number, right? If you're in tier 1, I would use the first number. Everyone knows what tier they're in, right? Some of you guys, you know, if you're doing this many deals, you're going to move up to tier 2 or tier 3, right? But this is a baseline.
Yeah, I think this is a good baseline because again, we also have, you know, like the Zillow Flex, you know, we have to pay referral fee. So I like that baseline of 50%, guys, especially when I do the hello week, we use that number as well. And it just makes the math really simple. And you can just plug into Enrique's formula now.
Yep.
Right. So and this is really important that we get this part done correctly, guys. So if you have questions or if it is confusing, please, you know, reach out right now so that Enrique can give some clarification and we can move to the next step.
Yep. So this right here, guys, is what I want you guys to know right now, right? Like this is, without knowing this, guys, like to me, you're lost. If you don't know this right here, this is the very, very basics of a business plan, right? Any sort of business, you got to know what you bring home on average per deal. And then you can say, how many deals do I need? Right?
How many cheeseburgers do I gotta sell?
How many cheeseburgers do I got to sell? You got to sell 10 to 12 cheeseburgers a year if you want to make 150 grand, right? On average. You get lucky like Adrian, you start doing these $6 million deals consistently, that maybe you only got to sell 4, right? But we don't want to bank off of luck. We want to bank off of conservative, foolproof. We'd rather be on the lower, the conservative end so that we know if we hit this number 100%, we're going to hit our goal, if not more, right?
And I think the great thing, while you guys are figuring this out, the great thing is once you've done this for 12 months, 18 months, then your numbers, you know, we're using a team average of $1 million price point, right? When you get really, really detailed of your business, now you're going to understand what your average price point is, and these numbers will adjust. But this, I think, is a great exercise to get started and understand what the process looks like.
Yep. Okay. So step 2 now is I want you to recheck your numbers, right? You guys all gave me numbers. Now I want to go back around and see if those numbers are the same based off of what I just taught you right here. So what's the new number now, based off what I just showed you, to hit that financial goal that you guys put out there? So those of you guys at home, you can write this in the chat as well. Hey, new number is this, right? Or my number's the same, like I had it right the first time. That's fine too.
Oh,
Okay, so let's go around the room real quick. Some of you guys online, Patrick wrote 24, Antonio wrote 24. It's either the same. Yeah, it's cool. What about you guys here? What's the number, Dev?
I actually added 2 more deals, and the reason was because I didn't calculate taxes and like just like costs of things like MLS fees, just like staying at hotels and stuff like that, right? So I just added 2 more deals to see a little bit more conservative on as well.
Okay, so this is all pre-tax, right? Pre-fees. This is just like, what do you take
Oh,
home
sure, then I mean,
after
it's still
splits?
safe then.
So 10 deals?
Yes.
Okay, John.
But that's the lower price.
Okay, went up to 12. Well, what was it before?
10.
So from 10 to 12. Okay. What about for you? 12?
I'm still doing my math.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about for you, Blanca?
What's your number?
24 to 30? Okay.
What number are you trying to hit? What's your gross number that you want, or the number you want to take off?
I'm trying to do 250, but I'm doing a average price point of 750 instead of a million.
I would use a million.
Just use a million.
I would use a million. Yeah.
Oh, it's 20 deals.
I would use a million for sure.
Also, I was spot on that.
So if you're doing, yeah, if you're doing that many deals, your average take home is going to be at least 60%, right? So 250 divided by 15. Yeah. I got 17 deals
Or
for Adrian.
I got 20.
So 17 and 20.
Well, yeah.
Let's say 17 and 20, because I'm assuming if he's doing 20, his split has gone up and he's taking home 60%, right?
19 to 12,500.
Yeah.
And I like that 12,500 because again, guys, we're also taking into account for that we have to pay Zillow.
Yeah.
That's why that's a solid number.
Yeah.
20, I was
That
thinking
was
20.
a good, buffer.
Yeah. But having that buffer, right? 17 to 20, right? Like in that range, you're going to hit your number, right? Okay. So is everybody, are we clear there? Magali, you came in a little bit later, but you got it? Okay. What's your number? 12 deals. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So now step 2 is, what is it going to take to hit 12 deals, right? How many people do we got to talk to? How many people do we got to meet with, right? And that's a math equation, guys. And this is the equation right here. To close one deal, now this is going to be also based off of averages, right? If you're a rock star and you're like really highly skilled, if you're like a Rob or a Blanca or like a Thomas or somebody, right? They're talking to less people to close a deal because they convert at a higher rate just because they're more experienced and stuff like that, right? If you're in the newer phase or in the ramp up phase, I would use these numbers, right? But it's good to have a range. And so what we know is that it takes approximately 100 conversations to book 10 appointments, right? It's roughly about a 10% rate. And when I say conversations, what I mean is conversations that last over 2 minutes on the phone, right? And we can track that in follow bots. If I jump on the phone with someone and I'm talking to them for over 2 minutes, that means the conversation is going well. If I have 10 of those, if I have 100 of those in a month, I'll probably book about 10% appointments, right? On average. 10 appointments set is equal to 1 closing. The reason why is that if you book 10 appointments, probably only 5 to 6 of them are going to show up, right? We get cancellations, reschedules, plans change, whatever. If you meet with 5 to 6, you're going to probably sign up 1 to 2 of those, right? And out of those 1 to 2, you'll consistently close 1 deal a month, right? And the way it breaks down to a weekly target is if we were to break that down to a week, right? We're taking this 100 and dividing it to a week. It takes about 25 conversations a week, 25 quality conversations to book 2 to 3 appointments a week, to meet with 1 to 2 every single week, to sign about 1 and close about 1. You're probably signing about 2, 1 to 2. Right? And that's the math right there, guys. Right? So whatever your number was, now we're going to do a little bit of math, right? A little backwards math. How many people do you have to talk to hit your number, right? Because we know how many deals we got to close. So now we just got to divide that up, right? So conversations is 25 conversations equals 1 deal, right? So take your number, however many deals you have, right? Yeah, so whatever your number is, right? We got the total number of deals, right? Everyone knows their total
Focus on your deal.
total deal number for the year. All right, let me write that in here. Total deals per year goal times 25 equals total conversations. What?
That's per week. It's one
It's
close.
100, yeah, it's 100,
100 conversations with 1 deal.
100 conversations equals
1 deal, yeah.
1 deal. I'm sorry. You're right. Because that was when we divide it, then we'll get the week number.
Yeah.
Okay. So total deals per week, per year, times 100 equals total conversations, right? And then we're going to divide total conversations by how many weeks?
52.
52 weeks. Some of you guys going to go on vacation. Maybe
Yeah, maybe let's go 49 weeks. 50
Yeah.
weeks.
let's say you have 40, I don't know, let's say you're working 48 weeks, right? You're taking 4 weeks spread out through the year of I was out of town, I was this or whatever, right? Divide total conversations by 48 weeks equals number
Talked to a lot of people.
per week. All right, let's stop there because I don't want to lose people, right? So everyone, take your total deals per year, multiply that by 100. And then divide that number by 48. What do you get? 25? John got 25. 20. Chris, 25. Adrian,
Divided by 48.
yeah, I'll come back to you. Blanca, 50. 25. Those of you guys at home, what'd you get? 50, 30.
Yeah.
Divided by 48.
41.
Okay.
Okay.
41.
So the lowest number we saw here was what? 20? And the highest number we saw was
42, yeah.
42. Okay. So what I want to show you guys, right? What was your number? 25, right? Most of you guys were in the 20 to 25 range, right? We have a few that are in the 30, 35. We got Nisha is at 25 to 30. Antonio is 50. So right there, guys, that's the number of people that you need to talk to every single week. Like have quality conversations, right? Now, just so you guys see, I'll divide that by how many days per week are you working? Are you prospecting? Right? How many days per week are you prospecting? 5.
I got a follow-up question for Enrique.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to your question right now in a second. So if you want to take your number, right? Take your number. Yeah, you guys are going to get all this, right?
I'll give you a copy of this. Oh, okay. Just so you know, yeah.
Divide by how many days per week you
Prospect.
prospect, follow up, prospect follow up. You pick up the phone, you do a call session, right? I don't care where you're doing it from, home, here, wherever, right? You're locked in the office, but how many times per week are you getting in CRM and going and making your calls, right? Divide that, your number, right? Whatever your number was, 25, 50, 35 conversations, whatever, and divide that by how many days per week, realistically, right? I want you to be honest with yourself. Don't throw me some crazy number because it sounds good. I'm prospecting 8 days a week. No, right? Like I'm going to the gym twice a day, 6 days. Like, no. Let's be honest, right? It's true, bro. Like, 'cause that's what happens is
Well, the thing is,
a lot of people do that, right?
I think, it's funny, guys, because again, while you guys are calculating this, is that I reach out to people and they tell me what deals can you get in contract next 10 days? I got people telling me to get these 3 deals in contract. I'm like, let's just concentrate on one. So what I'm going to, and I think Enrique was kind of saying this early when he first started, was like, we call something like the stretch goal, but like, what are you like committing to? What is your
Do or
commitment,
die.
right? I think it's like, what are you committed to? What are you, and once you know what you're committed to, that number, then you can really commit to these actions that you can put into place.
Exactly. Like, what's the number that's going to happen regardless of anything else going on in your life, right? Not like what's the best case scenario, the moon and the stars lined up. I was feeling it that week. I was extra motivated. I got good sleep. What's the bare minimum number, right?
This is what I'm committed to.
Because that's the number that if you can revolve it around that number, then it's for sure going to happen, right? So now I want to ask you guys, how many days per week, right? And how many people do you need to talk to per day, right? And all your numbers are going to look a little bit different. Let's go around the room. Write that in the chat if you're at home. How many days per week, bare minimum, are you committed to prospecting, picking up the phone, going in your CRM and calling your leads, right? Following up, calling leads. And then divide that goal, that weekly goal, into that number, and that's how many people you have to talk to per day that you prospect. So Zyla wrote 5 days a week, but then how many people is that per day? Right? So take your number of people you got to talk to per week and divide it by 5 since you're committing to 5. And if you're not sure, guys, unmute yourself and ask a question if you need clarification.
There's a lot of math here, guys.
It's a lot of math.
You have a question, the person next to you has one, guys. Trust me.
Mhm.
Please put it out there.
We have to make how many calls to get the conversation per day?
Yeah, so you already figured out, Zyla, you wrote 30 conversations per week.
Yes,
That was what and now you just wrote that you're prospecting 5 days a week. Is that your minimum standard? Is that best case scenario? What's the minimum standard where I can count on Zyla every single week doing at least this many
4 days.
days?
4 days.
4? Okay, so
Mhm.
I would go with 4. So I would take your 30 and divide it by 4. And tell me and write that number in the chat. That's how many people you got to talk to per day times 4 days a week. Quality conversations over 2 minutes in the follow-up us, right?
Question. So, when we meet with these conversations, are these like new people or are these like existing clients? Because five people a day, I mean, for the deals that we have in contract, like, I mean, Sometimes I'm calling my people in contract more than 5 times a day, right?
Not your people in contract,
I got you. So
prospects.
new businesses?
Yeah, new business, new prospects, right? Not people that, no, follow-ups, right? People that aren't in contract, people that you're trying to get in contract, right? You're trying to get,
I will go, like I said, I like, this is good, right? We're getting down to the nitty gritty, we're defining, right? If someone's in contract, that can account towards that conversation.
yeah, that's more servicing.
Even someone that I'm probably showing, I would not count in that thing, because that one's already, I mean, that's, again, maybe Enrique can clarify this, but if I'm showing you property, we already, you're on. we're
So
on
these
the
are,
right-
these aren't people that are active clients.
They're not active.
Like I'm already signed the buyer agreement, or I already have a listing, or they're in contract. That means I'm actively like, that's already moving forward. That's in the pipeline. These are new people that you are trying to convert to. It doesn't have to be never spoken. It could be a follow-up. These are people that you're trying to convert to a deal, to move forward with you.
Yeah.
You're trying to sign somebody.
Yeah.
So people, let's make it clear, not signed. You haven't signed the buyer agreement with them. You haven't signed the listing agreement with them. You're trying to get them to there, right?
That's a good way to do it.
These are, because those are prospects still.
Yeah, like even if you did an open house, right? At the open house, you're gonna get, let's say, 20 leads. Well, then on that Monday, you're calling those 20 leads. If you have quality contacts, that's it, with those 20 or any of those 20, that's been considered one of your conversations.
Yep. Okay. So let's go around the room. What's your number?
Um,
How many days per week and how many people per day?
Oh, okay. 5 days a week at minimum, and then four people, which sounds a little bit low.
Okay. 5 days a week, like that, you're committing to that? That's 100% do or die. It's going to happen? Or is that best case scenario? Okay. John.
4 days, 6 and a quarter.
Okay. Chris. 5 what? 5 a day. How many days? 5 days a week, 5 conversations. Okay.
Mine's 5 days a week. 8.4, but I rounded it up to 9.
Okay. Blanca.
Say 5 days a week, 10.
5 days a week, 10 people.
3, 8, 4.
3 days a week, 8 people a day. Okay. So it's 24, right? Okay. So I want you guys to realize, like, this is where we're getting down to the nitty gritty, right? Like, this is where now you guys took an income goal. You reverse engineered it to a deals closed goal. We use conservative numbers, so we know these numbers aren't best case scenario. We reverse engineer that to how many conversations per month, and then we divided it into what we are really realistically working, right? We took vacation, 4 weeks of vacation spread out through there, and then we took what's best case, not best case scenario, but what's a minimum standard that we can hold ourselves to of how many days we're going to prospect and how many people we got to talk to each one of those days, right? And so I want you to now, because I know you guys have notes, right? So I want you to now just recap. I want you to write income goal. So it's going to look something like this, right? This is now where I want you to write this and you're going to circle this. Income goal, 250K, right? Whatever. This is an example, right? 15 deals a year. 225 conversations a month. Divide that by a week.
Let's do the real one. Kiki. Let's do the 250 of the 20 deals. Let's do the real ones. So they come.
Okay, so 250,
is 20 deals.
20 deals.
Right, and then you multiply that by what, 100 calls or? right, 100
Multiply that by
calls.
100, divided by 48. So
2,000 conversations a year divided by 48.
That was 42 per week.
okay, so 42 per week.
Per week, yeah. 20
Uh,
deals times 100.
week, and that's going to be split up into, if I'm splitting that up into, I'm going to say 4 days, because I'm like me, I'd probably only commit to 4 days divided by 4. So 4 days times 11 convos per day. Okay. So I want you guys to write all your numbers out like that.
And then this, yeah,
Circle that, right? That's your number right there, right?
that's as simple as it gets, guys. It's exactly like how Enrique has it. And this is where we need to double check your math, right? This is where we want to really understand this. because this is what you guys are committing to.
Yep. Because what this is right here, guys, is this is not the number I want for you. This is not Enrique's number. This is not Jason's number. This is a number that you thought through, that you said, hey, I need to make this amount of income because this amount of income is going to allow me to do the things that I want to do. And I boiled it down to this is what I got to do every single week, right? So now you have clarity. You have clarity on what must happen to hit your goals, right? And now where we come in is we get in alignment with you of knowing what your number is, right? Having that number somewhere where we're going to continue to look at that and we get to hold you accountable to your plan, right? This is your plan, right? This is where you can self-coach yourself. This is where we can hold you accountable by knowing your plan.
And the great thing is we have the tools for you guys like follow us. You can check your weekly conversations. You can see how many conversations you had over 2 minutes.
Yep.
You can start grading yourself.
Okay, so the next thing I want you to do is I want you to now take this and I want you to put it in Slack, right? Because then I'm going to go ahead and record that and then we're going to use that when we have one-on-ones with you guys, right? So if you guys can we'll take 1 minute right now, go in Slack and just copy and paste whatever you wrote down exactly in this format, right?
Raise your hand if you need help with your numbers.
Income, deals, 42 combos per week, and then how's that broken down? 4 days, 11 combos a day, right? That was my example.
Look, make it look exactly like that, guys.
Yeah.
Same format.
Can you do one at 300?
I'll do it for you. That's what I'm saying. I want you guys to get clear with it so I can hear what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to use the numbers that Enrique used, right? So it'll be 300.
300.
So 300, divide that by 12,500, right? Which is,
I'm talking about liquid.
I want you guys to understand this.
I think I got it though.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Let's double check it. That's a lot. 3,000, 400,000 divided by 12,500 is 24 deals times 100 conversations,
I like that
which
quote.
is 2,400 conversations. Divided by.
Can I ask you a question, Enrique, in the meantime?
Yeah, go ahead.
I checked my conversation yesterday. I made around 26 calls, and I just have one conversation. And then I spent around 1.5 hours probably doing calls. So what do you think, how many hours should I do to get at least 7 conversations every day?
So that's what next thing we're going to go over right now.
Okay, got it.
That's a good observation. You're going to where I'm going to go next. Okay. So hold on. I want to make sure everyone completes this step first, right? So I'm checking Slack. So I need to see before we can move forward to the next part of it, right? I want to see everyone's number. Great job, John. Great job, Magali. Chris, let's do it. Okay, those of you guys at home, make sure you throw it in Slack, please.
What section?
Just throw in the general, just in the general chat. You'll see people throwing theirs in there.
Okay.
Okay, see you later, John. Good luck, man. Okay. Is that everybody? Am I missing some people? Yeah, whoever's at home, guys, make sure you throw your numbers in Slack, right? Just like this. You can see the other people putting their numbers in Slack, copy the same format. Jose, make sure you put your income goal, the same format as the other people. Income, how many deals per year, how many conversations a week, and then how is that going to break down? How many days times X amount of conversations? Okay, so I'm going to move forward, guys, and while we're getting that stuff in there. So I want to show you guys something. Because Zyla had asked, and this is where the conversation's going, right? The best way that you can keep track of this, guys, is not by memory. Because it's really hard to remember how many people you spoke to, right? The best way you can keep track of this is by using Follow Up Boss and making your calls from Follow Up Boss from the system, and not even logging them in there, because when you log them in there, it's not going to know if the conversation was over 2 minutes. It's actually making the call from the Follow Up Boss system, right? Because that's probably the most accurate way where it's going to record how many quality conversations did you have, right? And so like this is Mike Jones, this is our ISA, right? He's new, right? So we're still getting him ramped up, and he's still kind of trying to find his groove. But yesterday or the other day, I had a one-on-one with him. In the last 14 days, he's made 700 calls, 233 text messages, 77 emails, but only 16 quality conversations, right? But as you see, like there were 16, but 3.5 hours of talk time. So my coaching to him was like, hey, look, I see you're making the calls. Like you made 717 calls. That's a lot of calls, right? In 2 weeks. He's putting in the work. But what I don't see happening here is I don't see as many quality conversations, right? I see emails. I see some text messages, right? But only 2 appointments were booked. So then what I did is I said, okay, well, let me listen to some of your calls. So I listened to some of his calls, and what I discovered is that the way he was approaching the calls, he was really overthinking it and overanalyzing it, right? Like he was trying to have, like before the call, he was reviewing everything, right? Which Mike's a smart guy, but he was overcomplicating it, right? And so that's why I just picked up the phone and I called somebody in front of him, and I actually put that call in Slack, because I wanted to show him like, hey, I'm not even going to read the notes. I'm going to like look real quickly, like literally like 5 seconds, and just kind of see who I'm talking to. And I'm just going to now get the conversation going, right? And I made 2 calls. The first call didn't answer. The second call answered, and it was a call lasting over 2 minutes, right? And so part of it is, number one, are you making enough calls? That's part of it. If you're not making enough calls, well, you're not going to hit the amount of conversations you got to hit. The other part of it is you are making a lot of calls. Are you approaching them with the right strategy, with the right tonality, right? Or are you spending too much time on calls that aren't really going anywhere? Because now it becomes a numbers game, right? Like if I know my goal is to, let me look. Blanca's, I'm looking at Blanca's, right, in Slack. My goal is I got to go 5 days a week and I got to have 10 quality conversations. The more time I spend on a call that's not really going anywhere is taking me away from making another call that maybe can go somewhere, right? So you also got to be smart and know when to say, okay, well, hey, no problem. Why don't I just follow up with you later? But if we're going in the weeds and we're talking about Star Wars or freaking summer vacation and all this stuff, and these people are already told you they're like 2 years out and you're still talking to them just to like shoot the shit, well, you just stopped from getting closer to your 10 conversations a day, right? So what I want to get to you guys is you need to be mindful of how many quality conversations do I need to have, right? And also, how long do I want it to take for me to hit that number? Because Zyla said, like, I was an hour and a half. I'm I only had whatever X amount of calls, right? X amount of good phone calls. The other thing you got to look at too is what type of leads am I calling, right? Because there are going to be certain leads that if there's nothing there, you might spend a lot more time like burning through those calls. When if you just get really strategic when you're looking at like your leads and saying, well, who raised their hand? Who actually is looking at homes? Who's doing that, right? And now I'm saying, okay, let me call, 50 people who have visited my website in the last 2 weeks. Now what I'm doing is I'm fishing from a pond where there's more fish, right?
That, and then to add to that, now we're going into all the strategy.
Strategy.
The leads. And the other thing I look at is you got to call when it's not convenient for you, it's convenient for the client, right? 'Cause
Exactly.
maybe it's convenient for you to call at 9 o'clock in the morning, but the client is shopping at 7 p.m. So that's another thing is when you're analyzing your business and saying, hey, I'm making these calls, but are you making them at the right time now? Are you making it on a Saturday morning when people are ready to receive your call?
Yeah,
Right? So
exactly.
That's a little more strategy.
If I'm calling at 2 p.m., it's kind of smack in the middle of the day. Most people are at work, whether they work the morning shift or the late shift, they're probably at work at that time, right? But if I'm calling like earlier in the morning or later in the evening when people are more likely to be home, then I might reach more people. The other thing to keep in mind too is that if I'm sending a bunch of emails to me when you're prospecting are not that effective, right? Emails are good to have like drip campaigns and kind of let that thing keep you top of mind. But I wouldn't be like calling and then like shooting someone an email. Hey, are you still looking to buy? To me, that's a waste of time. I'd rather you text them directly, right? Call, double tap, triple tap, whatever. They don't answer, then you shoot them a text. Because remember, we are playing the numbers game, right? And so making sure that you are spending your time wisely is important because it's easy to like get off track, right? Like, oh, I kind of really messed around. I didn't really have a plan going in of who I'm calling. I got sidetracked checking my email. Next thing I know, it's like 3 hours and I only talked to 2 people. And now I got to go because I have an appointment. Well, then I didn't hit my numbers for the day. You see what I'm saying? You see how it could spiral out of control really easily? But when you're like, hey, I got 2 hours to talk to 10 people and like, I want to get this done in 2 hours, then naturally, how are you going to adjust yourself? Right?
You're going to be looking for the opportunity.
You're going to be looking for the opportunity, right? When I used to do a lot of prospecting, I wouldn't just call random people. I would be looking and I'm like, all right, I'm going to call these 5
You
people.
call for sale by owners.
I call for sale by owners. I call cancels expired. I call people who raised their hand on my website and said, hey, I looked at this home. I'm calling people who have shown some sort of interest because I know when I do talk to them, the likelihood of me having a great conversation is higher, right? I didn't do a lot of circle prospecting, right? Because you're just kind of shooting shotgun approach. It was really, really targeted, right? And I could be on the phone for an hour and book 3 appointments. Right? Because I'm like smarter, not necessarily harder, right? Okay, so I'm looking at Mike Jones's numbers, but now let me look at everyone. And so what we can see right here, this is just in the last 14 days. And the number I want you guys to look at is not this activity number. This activity number doesn't tell the whole story. If we boil it down the simplest of numbers, let's go last week, right? Let's go last week. Okay. Because that's a full week, right? Monday through Friday. We have 10 here. We have a 1 here. We got a 6 here, right? We got a 10 here, a 2 here, a 6 here, a 10 here, a 1 here, a 6 here, a 1, a 4. Thomas had 7, right? And so if we look at those numbers, right? And you guys have your number, were you on or were you off? Right? But like Chris said he was hella off, right? Conversation. So this number should be 25, right? Now, Chris, I know you're probably making call. I mean, I know you call in Mojo. I know you have other stuff you're doing, right? So this number doesn't tell the whole story, right? But you can probably figure out, right, through whatever you're calling from and add those numbers together. Did I have 25 solid conversations? Yeah. Right.
And then, like you said, Enrique, going back to Chris, zoom in. If you look at his, based on just the follow boss, he made 54 calls. 54 calls is not going to get him to the goal of 25 conversations on the follow bus. I know you do other stuff, but just looking at this, right, guys? So I also want you guys to understand that the calling does matter. You got to make those attempts.
Yeah.
And then you can see, how many more or less you got to do.
I'm gonna beat myself up. I don't like that at all. Pissed off about that. But that being said, I will give myself a little bit of grace. Is that the ratio? I did notice that. Call, text, and email. It's all kind of They're not like where I'm making hella calls and no text, no emails. That being said, that could still improve.
But what I'd rather you do though is not send these emails and add that on the calls, right? Yeah. Now let me show you. I sent this to Slack. I sent this to Mike Jones. Where's Mike? Okay. I sent this to Mike Jones, right? Because somebody sent this to me. 7 appointments booked in one day by an ISA, right? This person's probably calling 8 hours a day, right? All day. 200 calls made. 156 text messages, 13 emails sent. So you see the ratio, right? Heavy on call, heavy on text, very little emails, right? 372 total attempts in that one day, and they booked 7 buyer appointments. Emails, I think, should only be used for like when you're in, like if you're communicating with someone you're already working with, yeah, then you got to send them properties or whatever. But I would use emails very sparingly.
Yeah, I'd be more strategic with emails. I think when you look at the numbers game, and if you look at your own way you like to communicate, for me personally, it's gonna be text.
Yeah.
Right. So if you put yourself, and there are some people that, email is gonna be there. That's why Enrique says we have that drip. Right? We have those drip campaigns that we're implementing. And then if you're gonna, if you have a buyer that is really email driven, well, then you're gonna adjust your approach.
Let me end with this one thing. If you guys have 5 minutes, I want to replay that call because I don't know if everybody got a chance to listen to that call that I made, but I want to point out a couple things from that call. Those of you guys at home, let me know if you hear.
Hello, got to?
Yes.
Can you guys hear that at home? Okay.
Hey,
Yes.
this is Enrique, local.
Okay, so I want to just set the stage really quick. This was a Zillow lead, an old Zillow lead, right? Been in our system for a couple years. I don't even know if they're still looking or not, right? But to me, like, I need to hurry up and get to the point. I'm not there to like make friends with them. I need to quickly find out if there's something there, right? So that's the way I approach it. And I also don't want to sound like a salesperson, where I'm like being super pushy. I want to sound more like curious if they took an action yet, right? So this is my script approach, and this is what I recommend if you're following up with older leads.
Hello, got to?
Yes.
Hey, this is Enrique, local real estate agent. We're part of Zillow. Really quick, I was just going through our files and I got to your name. I think you at one point you were looking for a home, but I don't see any notes if you ever bought a house.
We are not on the market anymore.
Oh, okay. You guys decided to change your plans?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Because I see it was like maybe a couple years ago you guys were actively looking. I'm curious, what changed?
It's a little bit private, so I don't want to disclose. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not a problem. Well, let me ask you this really quick before I let you go. We're seeing a lot of good deals right now. In fact, we're able to negotiate the price down and credit and even get the interest rate down. Are you guys still considering making a move if you can get a good deal and good terms?
Probably not, but if something changes, I will give you a call.
Yeah, no problem. This is my number. You can save my number. What do you think your timeline would be when you guys would probably start looking into it again? 6 months, a year, or more?
Yeah, probably a year or so.
Okay. I totally respect that. I know the timing has to be right. Is there anything going on in a year that is going to maybe change things for you guys?
A promotion probably.
Okay. So you'll probably be making more income and stuff like that. Okay,
Mhm.
totally understand. I'm just going to update the notes here. This way, no one bugs you.
Mhm.
And if you guys were able to make the numbers work sooner, do you even want to look at that, or you just want to wait for more than a year, probably?
Probably will wait. If things are positive earlier, I will give you a call.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna put some notes just saying you're kind of holding off right now. If I don't hear from you, I'll check in with you like in a year or so and kind of go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. What do you guys take away from that call?
Find out what you need to find out, timeline. He's not in the market right now. He didn't want to share why he went. Probably dug a little more, and you find out that his promotion is probably why. He wants to make more income. And then you clarify, well, what if you remove the objection? Like, what if we're able to help you out now? And that's what you're open to. He's not open to it. So I think twice you went above and beyond to really try if it was really an issue, and it really is an issue. And then you figure out timeline. So I would put him in nurture campaign and then follow up with it half the time, 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull back a little more. I like, if you guys look at the beginning of his intro, a lot of us need to work on the intro so you can get to that part where the ending. The intro, psychologically, what he did was he gave him something familiar. He told that he's a local agent with Zillow. Everybody knows who Zillow is. The other thing that he did, he goes, hey, real quick. So then the caller psychologically doesn't know, he knows it's gonna be a fast, right? It's not gonna be Enrique's like keep him on the line. To me, that's the beginning part. You have to have a good intro in order for you, Enrique, go ahead and do all those rest of those things, right? He said his name, first name. He didn't go, hi, this is Enrique Medellin with PRG, brokered by EXP. Boom, hang up, right? He goes, hey, this is Enrique, local real estate agent, partner with Zillow. Hey, real quick, boom, and he goes right into it. That's the big takeaway that a lot of us need. If you're not getting past the 10, 12 seconds, that's what you need to work on first. And then the rest of it. Now, I'm going to add one other thing. The only difference I would have did with Enrique's call right there is I would have pushed a little harder in the sense of, hey, cool. So what area were you looking to purchase in? I would have tried to shoot my shot at my LP mama, right? Because that's more data that you're going to have when you do follow up, promotion, location, and all this information. If the guys want to talk. That's the only thing I would add in there is, okay, cool, no worries. Hey, when you were looking, I'm just curious, what area were you looking at? What price point? Right? Hey, did you guys ever get pre-approved? But the way Enrique does it is he goes from curiosity.
Yep.
Curiosity, right? It's not an interrogation. It's called curious.
And I want you to pay attention to my tone, right? I want to sound like cool as a fan, laid back, like my feet are up. Hey, just checking in. Like got to your name. I'm almost like trying to I'm not sure if this is the right person, right? Like got to your name. Did you guys ever buy anything? Right? Because what that does is that lowers their guard so that they're open to talking to you. Sometimes we're making calls and we're like sounding so much like a salesperson that they just go not interested and they hang up on you. Right? But when you go slow, calm, relax. Hey, I was just checking in. I saw your name. I got to your name. I don't see any notes, right? And then it almost makes them a little bit curious, right?
Yeah, you did some good at the beginning. You said, it's been a few years. Hey, I'm just kind of seeing, did you end up purchasing or what's going on?
But the other thing too is how many times did I try to shoot a shot in there? A few times, right? So that's the other thing, right? But I shot it in a way where hey, if this were to happen, would you want to at least look at this, right? And that's exactly where he didn't feel like I was like a threat because I was asking it so calmly and casually. And I put this script in there as well, guys. This is the script that's in the notes, right? So, hey, Enrique, right? Or hey, John, or whoever the name is. Yeah, who's this? Hey, it's Michael, local agent with Zillow. I was going through my files, got your name. I don't see if you ever bought a home or not. Right? Did you guys buy something? And what I already know is that I'm setting this up for one of these objections. It's a setup, right? I'm gonna ask them something. Most likely they're gonna respond with A, B, or C. No, we didn't. Yes, we did. Not interested, or we're holding off. So my response, if they say no, we didn't. Oh, okay. Well, are you guys still wanting to? Right? What's your guys' timeline? That now leads me to that part of the LP Mama. Yes, we did. Great. I'm gonna congrats them real quick. Where'd you guys buy? And then I'm going to quickly try to get off that call, but I'm going to say, hey, by the way, do you know anybody that I can help? There's some really good deals right now. Right? So now I don't spend time on that call. If I know it's not going to go nowhere, I can move on to the next person, right? Because remember, I'm trying to hit my 10 quality conversations, right? Not interested anymore, holding off. You're going to get that a lot. Oh, okay, I see. What changed? Right? And then after that, I'm posing a scenario out of curiosity. Hey, I'm just curious. If you could still do X, would you still want to look into Y? Right? Or hey, if you were able to find a good deal now where we can solve whatever objection you gave me, right? Would you at least want to look into it? And that's kind of what I told them. Well, hey, if we were able to find you a good deal now, would you at least want to look into it, or you still want to hold off?
Forever get you a discount on the home at 4% rate, you wouldn't even take a look at it. That's how it cuts us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it in different ways, but I'm going to say it very like calmly, not so aggressive. Like, hey, would you even want to look at that? Like more like curious. I'm curious. Would you even want to look at that, or do you want to maybe still wait? Right.
I think that the thing is curiosity and then interrogating someone.
Yeah.
Look at those two extremes and figure out where your tonality is at and lean on the curiosity.
Yeah.
People like when you're curious about things.
Casual.
Yep. And then, if there is something, then I'm going to make a recommendation, right? And I'm going to keep it simple. Here's what I recommend, right? Let's get you on a 10-minute call, with my agent or with my lender, or let's go see a house, right? Or let me stop by for 15 minutes. I want to make that like so not a big deal, right? That they're not really losing anything, right? And this is what I was training Michael on, right? I'm going to set up an appointment. We'll block out some time. Hey, it'll be really quick, 10, 15 minutes, right? We just want to make sure we get you the info. The main thing is stay cool, calm, collect, keep it simple. And then I wrote right here is be a chameleon, right? Depending on who you're talking to and how they're speaking, you may need to adjust your tonality. Was that guy's tone high or low? Low. So if I come at him real direct, like Chris, naturally you have a direct voice, right? So does Jason. So you guys might have clashed with him. He might have saw you guys as a threat and pushed away, right? I could be direct too,
Yeah, you can.
but then I can also like, hey bro, like how's it going, man? Like not right. Like I'm adjusting to his vibe, right? And so that's probably one of the biggest things. If you're not adjusting to the vibe or the energy of that person, you oftentimes will clash.
And I think that's where you have to self-evaluate who your natural personality is, and then you got to make that adjustment according to your audience, right? It's important that you understand. Know that maybe you are that one that goes forward, but like Enrique said, making that adjustment and be aware of that, and then you can go ahead and do both. Be that chameleon.
Yeah. So guys, in summary, I know we went a little bit over time. Thank you guys for your patience, but going back to this, right? It's important you guys know your numbers, and it's important that you guys are looking at this leaderboard every single week, right? If you're not looking at this leaderboard, then how do you know if you really are on track or not?
When you say leaderboard, for them to look at their score, right?
Yeah, they can look at their score, right? So you guys can all log in. You guys can all go to leaderboard, and it'll show you your score, right? And you could even look at, remember, this is only 1 week, right? So you could even look at the last 30 days, right? So last 30 days, I'm going to pick on Blanca really quick. Thanks, Blanca, for volunteering. Okay, last 30 days. Yeah, 31 in 30 days, right? Not so many calls, lots of texts, lots of emails, right? Some of these emails, I don't know if that's counting emails where it's already deals in contract or whatever, and just any emails. But this is a good thing to look at, right? So you can gauge, okay, do I need to be more strategic on my calls? Do I need to allocate more time? Do I need to step it up here? Or do I need to hurry up and like maybe not spend so much time on a call? Or do I need to maybe look at what leads I'm calling, right? Because the numbers that you wrote down was 50 a week, right? That's 200 a month. And in the last 30 days, you were at 31, right? Now, this is not counting calls you make from your cell phone, this stuff like that, right? So it's not 100% accurate, right? But you know if you need to adjust or not, right? If you want to be on track for that goal, right? So I think that's a good way where you can kind of self-evaluate. Now, the other thing too is what also counts as 2-minute conversations. Like if you're talking to someone face to face, if you're at an open house and you have a really good conversation with that person, you guys are sitting there, that counts as one of these conversations. We can't really track those in here, but you can maybe do some homework every week and go, yeah, there was like those 3 people I talked to. That's 3. Okay, I did 15 here. Okay, I had about, right, 20, right? Whatever your number
log
is.
in the call, like what Enrique says, it's not going to show it on there, but you can log in the call for your own knowledge, right?
Yeah.
After you receive that lead from the open house, which is good, Enrique, you say that because you guys are doing open houses, but remember, you can still log it in once they hit the system.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, hopefully you guys got some clarity, guys, today on what your number is, how to track, right? What your goal is, right? And what it's going to take to hit your goal. Because what I know, guys, is that we just keep this thing simple, right? We took the complicated and made it simple and just boiled it to how many conversations do I have per week? If that's the only thing you focus on every single week, guys, you guys will hit your goals. It will compound and you guys will hit your goals, right? And you might, and remember this, as you talk to more people, what happens to your skill level? It increases, right? So then over time, you will have to talk to less people to hit the same amount of income or same amount of deals, right? And which we see that, right? We see someone like Thomas, like Rob, like Blanca, where they have a pipeline or they have a big nurture bucket that are in referrals and stuff. So they're not maybe talking to as many people because it's a lot more quality, right? So, but if you're ramping up still, guys, like you got to stay true to these numbers, right? Until you get to a point where you got, multiple things kind of working for you, right? Any final questions, guys? Was this helpful for you?
Really helpful.
Okay. That's all I got, guys. Let's cut it up today. Thank you.